Episode 1: A Tale of Moss, Memory, and Moonlight. My people were wanderers once, driven from Acadia in the Great Expulsion, scattered like seeds on the wind, until some took root in the swamps and lowlands of southern Louisiana. They were the Cajuns, fierce and gentle, stubborn and joyful, makers of gumbo and ghost stories, prayers and pirogues. They sang in French, danced barefoot in the sugarcane fields, and passed down their secrets in whispers and in pots of crawfish that never emptied. I am descended from the Cajuns, both my parents born in the bayou. My blood, a braid of bayou and firelight, sorrow and survival. I was born into that lineage like a small echo, already old in ways no one could name. We are a culture with very few original descendants, so we are few. In the bayous of southern Louisiana, I lived in a quiet corner of the world where stories were carried on the wind and truth wore many, many masks. My name is Penelope LeClaire, and though I was only 6 years old, I had the soul of someone who'd already walked the world a dozen times. A girl way too curious for her own good. A girl born sideways into the world. I had wild black hair that refused to be tamed and eyes too knowing for comfort. I didn't belong to the world I was handed, so I made up one of my own. I stitched it together from dreams, half remembered tales, my imagination, and the echoes of things I could almost, but not quite recall. That summer, I went to stay with my grandmother, whom we called Maman, in a place named Hollow's Inn. Her house crouched on a little hill like it was guarding something. The roof was tin, the porch wide, the boards were weathered to the color of driftwood. When it rained, the roof sang lullabies in a rhythm older than sleep. I loved to play in the thick bamboo bushes that lined the side of her yard. They swayed lyrically in the winds and often creaked as if they were whispering secrets to one another. I would gather the falling bamboo sticks, waving them like magic wands and mumbling all kinds of spells with strange, made up words that felt like they came from somewhere ancient. The screen door moaned when it opened and slammed like thunder when it closed. Inside, the kitchen always smelled of onions and coffee. There was always a kettle humming, a breeze stirring in the lace curtains, and a hush, like the house itself was listening and holding its breath for something just beyond the veil. Mama had swamp water in her blood and fire in her bones. She was sharp-eyed and quick with her hands. She could clean a fish with her eyes closed, patch a quilt with stories, and tell you that a storm was coming just by the way the birds flew. Her mother, my great-grandmother Elvire, had been a traitière, a faith healer. Folks would walk barefoot through the cane fields to have her lay hands and murmur over their hurts. She read fortunes with playing cards too, until the parish priest told her she had to stop. And she listened. But still, Mama would sometimes find that old deck hidden in the flour tin, soft and stained from all the lives they'd touched. Some said the cards still whispered if you listened close enough. On a scorching day, Momo and I were sitting on the porch. The cicadas screamed like rusty hinges, and the sun painted everything gold and aching. She was cutting okra, the blade of her knife tapping against a metal bowl. My bare feet swirled lazy circles in the dust, and I stared out towards the big tree in her backyard where moss dripped from the branches like tattered lace from forgotten gowns. Mama, what's that long stuff hanging from the trees? She paused, wiped her hands on her apron, and gave me a look like she was about to open a door that couldn't be shut. "Me, that's witches' hair, Sha. They fly to these trees at night, wild and wicked, and they long hair get caught up in the branches. What you see there, that's what they leave behind." Then, as if she hadn't just cracked the world open, she went right back to slicing her okra. And just like that, everything shifted. After that, I couldn't look at the moss the same. It wasn't just moss anymore. It was a sign, a warning, a relic, and a mystery, a remnant of something wild that had once passed through and might come again. I began to watch the trees more closely, looking for movement that didn't match the wind. I listened for rustles that didn't come from animals. Each evening, as the sun dipped blood red behind the cypress, I pressed my face to the window and waited. Sometimes I thought I saw a flicker in the branches, a simmer of silver hair, a crooked silhouette caught between light and shadow. One night I couldn't wait any longer. I slipped from my bed, careful not to creak the old wooden floorboards, and tiptoed out to the porch. The night air was thick and humming and hot, the moon high and pale. I crouched behind a bush and waited, my heart pounding like a drum in a ritual I hadn't yet understood. And then I saw them. Figures drifting through the trees like shadows come loose from the earth, cloaked in black, riding crooked brooms, hair trailing behind them like silver smoke. They glided, silent but full of presence. I held my breath and then tiptoed back inside. The next morning, I told Mama what I had seen. She didn't act surprised. "You best be careful, child. If they ever learn your name, truly know you, you can't go back to before. It changes everything. They don't call you unless they want you. And if I want you, well, that's that."